Alright, man. So, my goal for you in this video is to give you 5 habits that are going to make you socially magnetic. And let me tell you, when you apply these 5 habits, you are going to make people actually want to be your friend and actually want to talk to you. And I have a say in this because I remember when I was in high school, I really wanted to talk to people at a school or a party and be like super hyped up to talk to a bunch of people, right? And I remember during this time, every single time that I had the chance to talk to someone to socialize, right? I would hype myself up and I would basically be and say to myself, okay, I'm going to go and talk to every single person here. I'm going to connect with them and I'm going to be friends with everybody. But the problem was when it actually came time for me to talk to people, suddenly my mind would go blank. I'd freeze, my palms would become sweaty, and everyone just looked so scary. And I didn't actually know how to go up to someone and say hi and start a conversation. And the worst thing about this was that I was looking at all the people around me and everyone seemed to have conversations that would flow naturally. Everyone seemed to know how to talk to each other without a problem. But I wasn't sure on how to become like this and exactly what to do. And eventually, this got to a point where I knew I had to change this about myself because deep down, I wanted a group of friends. I wanted people to enjoy talking to me. And in this video, I'm literally going to tell you the 5 habits that actually help me be more comfortable in conversation, talk to a bunch of people, and make friends from doing so. Now, I'm not going to tell you the stuff that you probably already know. Like you probably know, oh, be sure to smile in conversation when you're saying hi, be sure to use their name in conversation to make them feel warm. I'm not going to tell you any of that stuff you already know, okay? I'm going to be giving you in this video unconventional habits, unconventional hacks, and some controversial ones as well. So listen closely. So the first habit that I have for you is literally breaking the touch barrier as soon as possible. I want you to always give them a handshake or a fist bump and always be the one to initiate this first. Now, if you don't do this at all, this might sound very scary to do. I was also very scared to give a handshake or a fist bump to somebody, especially someone I didn't know, right? However, I really want to push you to do this because if you do this, this is going to benefit you in 2 ways. The first way this benefits you is that if you initiate some form of contact, first like a handshake or a fist bump, they're going to see this and they're going to be like, oh, he initiated a form of contact first. He's immediately confident because shy people, they keep to themselves. They don't reach out for contact at all. And the second way this is going to benefit you is that once you shake someone's hand, your brain automatically releases something called oxytocin, and this is literally like a bonding hormone that we have. And basically what this does is that this builds instant trust with the person that you're meeting. Now I'm going to tell you why this is. I'm going to explain this. The reason why this is, and this is coming from like a psychological evolutionary perspective, right, is because as humans, we're literally designed to be around and touch things that are going to help us and that we like, right? Like, for example, from this perspective, right, as humans, we're not going to want to be and we're not going to want to touch things that are scary or they look like they're going to hurt us, right? There's a reason why we don't want to touch that hot stove. It looks like it's going to hurt you. There's a reason why we don't want to go down that dark alley. It looks pretty suspicious. But if you see someone and you immediately break the contact barrier, give them a handshake, a gesture, psychologically, you're already going to feel more comfortable around them and you're going to feel less tense because as humans, we don't touch things that we don't like. Once you break the contact barrier, your brain's like, okay, this guy can be trusted. We're going to release the tension. We're not going to be so tense because we're around something. We want to meet this guy. And ever since I started doing this, I felt less tense with people and I actually started having better conversations. And I'll admit to you, I really appreciate when people actually make the first, they break the contact barrier first because let me tell you, the best conversations that I've had have happened when the other person that I meet for the first time gives me a handshake or a fist bump. Like literally last week, bro, I was going to the eye doctor, right? This was like my yearly eye doctor. And every single time I go to this eye doctor, right, I don't get the same doctor. It's multiple doctors in like one facility. And every year that I've gone, I've gotten doctors who, they just come in and, they just give me the, oh, hey, how are you? How's it going? How's school? But they're not really friendly. But literally last week, I go to my yearly checkup again. And me and my brother, we go together this time. And, we're sitting, we're waiting. And the doctor finally comes in to check up on us. And something that really noticed me, something that really called my attention was that this doctor literally called us by both of our names and he gave us both a handshake. And as soon as he did that, in my brain, I literally started feeling more comfortable around him. And literally because of this, he started asking me questions, and I started talking to him about fitness. And it turns out he was actually into fitness too. And we started talking about how we both think the Western American diet is killing us. We started talking about lifting and supplements. And overall, this was probably like the best conversation that I've ever had with the doctor. So literally what I want you to do, literally every time you meet someone new or someone that you've already met, always give them some form of contact, handshake, fist bump. It might be scary at first, but you are going to literally feel a lot better. You're going to feel less tense in the conversation when you do it, and they're going to appreciate it and see you as very magnetic. So, my next habit for you is related to smiling, right? Now, you've probably heard the advice to smile in conversation. Smile when you're saying hi to someone, smile when you're leaving, when you say goodbye to them, and 100% do this. When you're smiling, you're showing the person that you actually want to talk to them. It shows that you're not in a bad mood and that you're actually enjoying having a conversation with them. But here's the thing, I believe that smiling, when it comes to deeply connecting with the person, not greeting someone, not in the beginning stage of the conversation, but when you're trying to deeply connect with someone, I believe that smiling, over excessive smiling, is overrated. Listen to this, because this is a bit controversial. This is my personal opinion that you're going to hear. Like I said, please smile. Smiling is important. Smile when you're making a joke at someone. Smile when you're greeting them for the first time in public. Smile when you're leaving, and when you're going away. 100% do that. But here's the thing: if you get into a conversation, and when you're in the moment of talking about something serious, or if the conversation isn't funny at all, I believe that over excessively smiling at another person in this type of moment in conversation actually makes you look more nervous, and it looks like you can't be taken seriously. Because here's a moment that happened to me, right? I'm a person with a really good smile. I'm going to show you my smile right now, okay? I promise I'm not crazy, but I'm going to show you my smile. So this is like my natural smile, right? So, I got the teeth, I got the dimple. And so my whole family, everyone has told me this, right? And so, I was thinking one day, I'm like, this is my superpower. My smile is literally like my superpower. I'm going to leverage this as much as I can. This is like my unfair advantage compared to everybody else, right? And so, because I thought my smile was so powerful, right? I have a really good smile. I started smiling 24/7 when I started talking to people. So, every time I go into conversation with someone, I made sure that, show off my teeth, show off my smile, kind of like this right now. I was always smiling, and I was like, yeah, bro, like, this is my unfair advantage. Like, people are jealous of the smile. Like, this is going to give me compliments. And so I was smiling 24/7 all the time. And little did I know that this was actually backfiring me. Because I remember about like a week into doing this, people started telling me, JJ, why are you always so smiling? People literally started saying, why does JJ smile all the time? He's literally always smiling in every single scenario and conversation when you look at him. Some other people are like, yeah, bro, I agree. It's like everything's a joke. Like you can't take him seriously. And in this moment, I realized over excessive smiling literally made me look more nervous, because people were like, oh, this guy, only because only a shy guy is trying to prove that he's not nervous. So he's smiling all the time, and it actually made me more nervous, and it actually did me more harm than good. So I started kind of getting into this. I started getting into like the psychology of smiling, and I personally found out that for men are more attractive when they smile less and when they actually squint. And later down the road, when I started like improving my social skills, started meeting more people, I noticed that the most nervous and awkward people that I've met tend to hide their awkwardness with a smile, because I used to do this as well. It's kind of like I was so awkward at the point that I didn't want anybody to know. So I literally like covered that up. I kind of like coped with it by smiling a ton to make sure no one knew that I was nervous. And listen, if you still don't believe me, look at this. Imagine I smile every single time that I'm talking to you on the camera. Imagine I'm always smiling on the camera every single time that I talk to you on the video. At first, it's like I'm friendly, right? It's like I'm happy. But if I'm smiling like this in a deep conversation when I'm trying to explain to you something important and you should be listening, you're kind of confused. And it's almost as like, I'm going to go back to like how I normally speak now. It's almost as like I can't be taken seriously. And it's almost like, wait, is this guy, why is he smiling? Is he about to make a joke? Why is he, is this funny to him? Like, am I supposed to be laughing? Now, I'm not saying to squint all the time, look mad or anything. But as I just said, when you're making jokes, definitely laugh. When you're greeting somebody, when you're saying goodbye, please smile 100%. But when you're getting into curiosity, questions, explaining yourself, have a neutral face, have like a really curiosity face, show them that you can be taken seriously and that you're not a jokester 24/7. The third habit, super easy habit, and this tip is for the boys, right? If you're a guy and if you're talking to another guy, you're meeting another guy for the first time, this tip is for you. The tip is super easy. It's basically to call people brother. So when you call them brother, right, it's almost as like they're family to you because obviously you're not their actual brother, you're not biologically related to them, but if you call them brother, it's kind of just saying that like, hey, I have the confidence to call you brother, and I'm so social to you that you're like a brother to me, you're close to me. This is sort of related to the handshake habit, okay? This can be very scary at first, it might be very weird to call somebody a brother, especially if you don't know them, but it's psychology. This tip is literally used by online coaches, RA leaders in the university. This is what my RA friends tell me. It makes guys feel more closer to you because you're calling them a brother, even though you're not biologically related. The fourth habit, and this is extremely valuable because this has helped me create so many good conversations. You probably heard the advice of, oh, be really interested in the person, ask them lots of questions so they can feel like you're interested in them. And 100%, when you're meeting someone for the first time, ask them questions. You have to have some questions. But here's my habit too. If you are ever in a moment in conversation where you have a lot of things to say and you could probably talk to hours about a conversation, or if you have recently just done something and you have something to say about it, use it to your advantage and say a bunch of statements. Because when you go full interview mode, basically, if you keep asking the person a bunch of questions, you are not going to let the other person know more about you. Because this was a huge mistake that I would make, because I always followed this advice of, oh, asking a bunch of questions about the person. But here's the thing, people connect best when they find something similar in common. So, for example, I remember one of the best conversations that I've had with someone was when we started talking about sports. And so I started asking this guy, oh man, what are you into? What are your hobbies? And something that we really connected on was sports, specifically European football, or if you're in the US, soccer. And old me following the question advice, I would have probably asked him a bunch of questions about soccer. I would say something like, oh, have you played? What teams do you watch? Oh, what other sports do you like? But instead of doing that, I literally took this tip to my advantage, this habit. I literally told this guy, oh, bro, I literally went to the Chelsea versus Celtic game a couple months ago back in the summer of 2024. And then he started saying, oh, yeah, bro, I actually went as well. Like, I'm 3 hours from that city. So me and my family, we had to travel like 3, 4 hours to watch the game, but I also watched it. And then from there, I just started saying more statements about the game that we both watched. And basically from then, we start saying a bunch of statements. And of course, there's questions involved, but basically, by saying a bunch of statements, I was allowing this guy that I had just met to know me more. And because of this, we connected more. We found out that we like similar teams. We ended up talking about where we were from, what type of aspects and what type of players that we liked about the game. And it was all because I took advantage of saying more statements than I did questions. And the last habit that I have for you is, after you're done meeting the person, get their social media as soon as possible. In my experience, getting somebody's social media like Instagram or Snapchat, who uses Snapchat anymore, but if you're younger, Snapchat, getting their social media allows you to connect more and even make future plans with them. And the reason why this works so well is because if you get their Instagram ASAP, it allows them to remember you, and it's going to allow them to invite you because they literally just talk to you. If there's something going on later, they're like, oh, wait, this guy literally just added me. I'm going to invite him. And this has helped me so many times in university. And as a bonus tip, I'm literally going to give you a line, because just like the other tips, it might be scary to ask somebody for their social media first, especially if you don't know them as well. And if you've never done this, it can be awkward, right? But here's a line that I literally love to use that benefits me, but also gets me their social media. So I literally say this. Hey, so like every time like I go to events, meet a bunch of people, I always like connecting with people on social media. We should connect on Instagram. You guys have Instagram, or we should add each other. Or you could be like, hey, so like I've connected with lots of people, every time I go out. We should connect on Instagram. What's your at? And kind of like the other tips too. When you say this and when you initiate this verse, it's kind of just like, oh wait, oh that's super cool. He's asking for my social media. We're gonna connect more. And that line is super helpful because when you say the first part, hey, when I go out to these events, I like connecting with a bunch of people. When you say that, they're going to be like, oh, this guy, he's literally so social. He's so magnetic that he goes out every single time. He's going out multiple times. So he must be really cool to hang around. Yeah, it's going to help you connect with them more and build a future relationship over time. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.